Welcome everyone, thanks for taking time to be with us. I'm Paul Chapman. I work for an organization called Restore Hope. Restore Hope was started by the governor in 2015 when he took office. At the time that he took office, Arkansas had we actually had the fastest growing prison population in the nation per capita, from 12 to 16. It's growing very rapidly. It cost the taxpayers of Arkansas a whole lot of money. And so crime mostly was steady, but our prison population was growing quite rapidly, and then we had to pay for it. Now, because we operate in silos, and I'm going to say a little more about this, because we operate in silos, really that prison population, the rapid rise, took our foster care, took DCFS by surprise. Okay, and so you can see this purple line here is the rise in the foster care population during that time. But again, it was, as we were putting people in jail and in prison for infractions, a lot of them were for parole and probation technical violations. Okay, so it wasn't new crime and new convictions. It was the inability to meet the demands of the supervision that the individuals were already on. In fact, we incarcerated so many folks that in 2016, Arkansas, according to the Annie E. Casey Foundation, Arkansas had the highest percent of children who have had an incarcerated parent. Anyone familiar with the ACE test, Adverse Childhood Experiences test? A show of hands if you've heard of ACEs. So depending, I understand now there's some modifications to the test, but one of the questions on the test is before you were 18, you have a parent that was incarcerated, and you'll get a 1 on the test. And four more on that test, and you start to have a statistical probability of some pretty negative outcomes. 6 or more on that test, and I believe that the research, unless it's changed recently, we mark 20 years off life expectancy. So Arkansas, obviously what I'm trying to set here is the context of Arkansas has some real issues with individuals that are incarcerated and children that are foster care. And then if you transition out of, I think that's the new term, right? It's no longer age out, but if you transition out of foster care as an adult, I think your statistical probabilities, are that you're going to face some pretty hard things in life. And in this region here, this is the Fort Smith Metro that includes parts of Oklahoma. So it would be this area of the state was hardest hit, according to the well-being, the community well-being ranking done by Gallup in 2017. The Fort Smith Metro area ranked last. This is a pretty subjective test. It asks 5 questions. Like, do you like what you do each day? And so they did that here, and the Fort Smith Metro in 2017 kind of ranked last in its citizens' thoughts about the future, hopefulness for the future. And so that's why we started here at Restore Hope. Restore Hope is a collective impact organization where we try to bring communities some coordination so that work can be done together with the governmental and non-governmental agencies. Because what we believe and what the research shows is that the types of problems that we all gathered here today to discuss are so complex that not one organization, governmental or non-governmental, can actually make the kinds of changes that we all hope to make. That because we all operate in silos to our authorities, whatever they may be, right, without really any mechanisms to partner together, we have this execution gap, and we see that all the time. You can provide housing first, so you can provide a shelter, and you might be able to get the people in your shelter, you might be able to provide them with food and shelter, and you struggle a little bit with jobs, and you're trying to bring the mental health and substance abuse there, and maybe you're doing okay there, but that's about the extent of what you can provide. And an organization that would be a shelter would constantly struggle for, I I can get someone kind of off the street and stabilize, provide those, or organize those early services, but I'm kind of done after that. And that is true in every different silo that is here. And so what we launched with the governor in 2016, the Restore Hope initiative, and then it's become the 100 Families effort, is the idea that if we could align the help that is in the community, we can actually close the execution gap by allowing each one of us in a logical and timely fashion to be able to provide what we're expert at. And if we can do that in communication back to the authority, right, then decisions are made that are different, right, including the hope that the client has. And one of the things that we just found and say is that hope is fuel for action. If our clients do not have hope, they will not do the hard work that's needed to be able to get them from where they are to where they want to go. They may not even know where they want to go. Right? And so hope is fuel for action. And what we have found is as we've launched this in Fort Smith is that the alignment happens. And once the alignment happens, there's hope that begins not first with our clients, but with us. The number of comments that I've had from people that are in the business, and they've been in the business for a long time, it was pretty encouraging. And now the clients are reaping the benefit of that community being able to work together and to communicate, and new relationships have emerged, and there's trust now. And so anyway, we wanted to tell you a little bit about that. About a year ago, we launched an effort that allowed the community to focus instead of kind of this broad kind of systems change. No one wakes up in the morning, unless you're just a dork like I am, right? No one wakes up in the morning and goes, I'm excited today for system change, right? You need a goal to focus on, right? And so just over a year ago, we launched an effort that Karen Phillips is going to tell you about.
The initiative that was launched February 25th, there are currently, as of January 31st, 143 families in the initiative that represents 358 children. And I am very, very passionate about this program because I see that execution gap that he's talking about every single day. I see the families struggle to do the most minimal task, and it seems that almost like everyone on the flip side, the other side of the table is, why can't you do this? And instead of realizing that the things that they're dealing with are not just excuses, but they are true barriers, we give up on people. And 100 Families doesn't do that. So that's one of the parts of the 100 Families initiative. And our goal is to preserve or reunite families. There are 69 non-custodial cases, so those are families that their children have been placed in care, and that their goal is reunification with those children, and they are working hard at that, and they just need some help and support. And so we walk alongside DCFS as a community. This is not Restore Hope's clients. I just want you to know that. This is multiple community organizations saying they're going to serve holistically these families and provide case management that's collaborative and that has communication at its core. So that's very important. There are 48 protective services cases in this program and 26 preventative cases. So the protective services cases, of course, are those that the children are still in the home and there's a safety plan or something in place, and the families are typically in crisis in multiple areas and need assistance moving up out of that. And the preventative cases do not have a case at all. So they are just no DCFS involvement, but we're trying to help families that are at risk, whether they have a case or not, to stabilize. There's about 14 areas that we actually assess. So that means no matter where they are, their point of contact is. So let's say the school. school says, hey, we've got some families that are in crisis, and we want to plug them into 100 families. So they would do this 14-point assessment and find out what areas of crisis these families are in. Are they a 1, which means crisis, a 2, or a 3, which means they're at risk. They're not, in crisis, but they do have needs still, and then a 4, which is stabilized, and then a 5 is thriving. So we use this, we have definitions so that across the board, no matter where they come in contact with you, whether it's DCFS, CASA, school system, wherever they come into contact with you, you can make the same assessment, and you can finally track results as a community. And that's what's so important. It's always what's kind of missing in social service programs. Like, they want to just, stamp yes or no, like you're denied for, your utility bill today, and move on. That's not what this is, okay? This is something where you walk beside someone, and as a community, you set up a care team. And we have a system that does that. It's called Hope AR. It's an online system that's I'm sorry.
Compliant.
HIPAA, FERPA, and COPA. I've tried to put them all together. Compliant. So all 3 compliant with all those privacy laws, so that we can share information across agencies. So if you think that this particular family could use some housing assistance, or they could use a recovery coach, then you can add those persons into their care team. And you have a care team that is communicating about the family. And that is profound because it just can't happen. We don't usually have the tools to do that. So we provide that tool. And what happens as a result of that communication around helping a family is you see these families move out of crisis very, very quickly. Do you have a pointer? Anyway, it's okay. I can point. I don't need a pointer. And so at intake, you see that the 100 families that are active, 37% had no transportation of any kind. They had no way to get from point A to point B. 21% had some resources, but they don't have a vehicle that's safe or efficient, or maybe they don't have they just have rides or something like that. This number 4 is stabilized, so they have a vehicle that has insurance. It's, they're literally on the road. But maybe, they can get from point A to point B if they're Crawford or something like that. So only 3% were actually thriving, which means that their vehicle is in great shape. It's got tires on it that that are good, that aren't going to blow out any second, that kind of thing. See, I'm like barely thriving in the car business, but anyway. I just got new tires, so I'm thriving now. Okay, so employment, 46% were in crisis when they came in. That means they had no income from any source. These are parents. Every single one of these are families trying to support their children. I have a family I just helped. He was on parole and he had district court charges in several different district courts. He had a child welfare case, protective services case. All 3 of those things were, piled up against him, things that he was working on, and he went through a program, and he's making $14.50 an hour at Ring. So we can he would have never gotten an interview, never. But the community said, hey, we're going to give you an outlet that's going to get you that interview, and it's going to get you an opportunity that this is your big break kind of opportunity, like once in a lifetime, this is it. And so excited for that family. So we do that in several different areas. We do that in housing. We try to bring those resources as a community and solve for these population-based issues, and then help individual families.
Point contact in Crawford County so far. And we didn't take our actual first family till April. I think we had 1 family in April, and then we had 4 in May, and from there it's just snowballed. We have several inactive families right now. We have 25 active. There are 62 kids in those 25 active cases that we've been working with. And we can see every day the changes that they make, the differences. I'm not going to go over a whole bunch of numbers because our numbers are just in infancy because it would be new in these programs. But just to give you a couple examples, when we took our intake numbers, we had 44% in crisis in the area of housing, and as of today, we have nobody, 0, in the area of crisis. And then, like, for example, we had 48% in crisis in employment, and we have, as of today, 52.8% at the minimal level of thriving. We still have work to do, but that's a flip, you know, a flip over from crisis to getting to the point to where you want to be. When we started, it was just me, and we've grown so much, mostly through our referrals for 100 families from Tara and her staff at DCFS and several other agencies, that we've added staff, so I know you heard them introduce themselves. Jessica is our resource specialist, and whenever a family gets connected with us, she does the needs assessment, she does all the paperwork for the 100 families, puts them in the computer, and determines where they need to go from there. If they're housing, she's actively looking every day for housing. If they need employment, she's actively looking every day and sending out emails to clients that there's a job open here, there's a job open there, there's a house open that meets your qualifications here or there. So she's every day on top of that, looking for those basic resources and getting those basic needs met. And then the rest of us are working with families that need more intensive services, that need to, go to a domestic violence support group, victim support group, or go to recovery coaching, or doing some of the other things that need to happen. So it's a holistic approach, and I can't wait for us to get more and more involved in Crawford County, because they've seen so many changes in Sebastian County. I saw the bicycles out at the Harry E. Kelly Park that people can rent now and ride around town to do their business. And I don't know how expensive they are or anything, but solutions to things like transportation, we need this group. We can't do that, just a few of us on our own. There are some problems that are way bigger than any one individual agency. Transportation in Crawford County is one of those. It's huge. There's a huge need, a huge gap in services there. So I'm really excited about this kickoff. I'm really excited about us coming together. I'm really excited about us being able to work together on some of the problems. And I think that you will see as we add, we've been the only point of contact, as we add other points of contact, maybe at the Adult Ed, at CASA, that we're not going to run out of business. We have plenty of clients to go around. We have plenty of clients that need to be connected to different agencies. So as we add points of contact and we add other agencies that we can refer to, this is only going to get bigger and better, and we're only going to be able to solve more problems and help more people to get to the point that they need to be, so that maybe we can get to the point where we're not known for high numbers in foster care, for high numbers in jail, for high recidivism rates and those kinds of things, that we can really truly grow and get to the point where we're seen as a community that is functioning holistically and taking people from crisis to thriving, from crisis to career, as Karen always says. Okay, so that's all I have to say. I'm happy you all guys are all here. I appreciate it. And when